to outside. Let's say, remember, please, remember this classification, not scalping wounds and scalping wounds, comparable to how many layers will be damaged. And let's continue. Layer number 7 in our region, it is the cranial bones. Cranial bones. Friends who want to sleep, without any problem, can take the bags and go out. Even I will not put up some. I promise you. I promise you. I told you before, now I see you raise your mouth. I don't know what are you doing because you want to sleep. Now look what I will tell you, guys. Look, I'm very serious now. Look, I don't need nobody's physical presence, not in my practical class, not in my lecture. You know, I work in 5 countries, universities, especially in Europe, in Russia. I don't see such kind of stupid situation. Student doesn't work to study, but goes know why from far country come to another country and even don't understand what he or she do here. For what? Now I say and he also, oh, I want to sleep. What to do? That is abnormal, friend. You are very young. If you see that it's not yours, change your future. It's not necessary to do something boring, ununderstandable, and not interesting. For example, I am sure that for Hamza it's so interesting that he will not be slept in my lesson. And only persons like he, I'm very sorry that I give you an example, should study in medical university. Sorry friends, sorry that instead of my subject I speak about it, but sometimes it is necessary to explain for you guys that you have beautiful future, but only if you will make correct decision about your profession. You must to choose the profession which is interesting for you. And if it is interesting for you, believe me, you will not sleep during the lecture. I don't think that any another professor will so impressionally explain for you the subject. I do my best. But sorry, it is not enough. Friends, it is not enough. Even if I will sing and dance here, if it will not be interesting for you, you will sleep. That's why today I will say it and we will continue. Then you will go to your home. Make one simple training. Now sit down in the chair. Just sit down, like it will be, I don't know, meditation. Sit down in the chair and think. If today you will have some emergency problem, today, not in the future. Generally forget about future. Future is not exist. We have only today, this time. If today it will be happen, touch wood, with your friend, with your relative, I don't want even to make with what can you do? What can you do? And you will see that nothing. And you will understand that you don't do even anything to improve this situation because you sleep in the lectures. If after this also, guys, you will not change your life and behavior, that's say it will mean that medicine is not for you. Stand up, take your documents and go to another universities or make some physical works. You will be much more happy. I am sorry, let's continue. Let's say cranial bones. Cranial bones, layer number 7. Which specificities have cranial bones? You study in anatomy and you know that they have 3 layers. External compact layer, internal compact layer, and diploidic layer, which is between them. It has the sponge form. It's like the sponge form. This is external compact layer, this is internal, and this is the diploidic sponge. Do you remember that I speak about subcutaneous fat? I told you that only part of big veins located in fatty tissue. Yes. Next part of big veins located inside of the diploidic layer of the bone. That is the veins which I want to show. By the way, after you will see third part of big veins, which is located inside of cranial cavity, in so-called dura mater venous sinuses. In dura mater venous sinuses. And what will be interesting, guys, you will find the bridge veins, which is connecting these three levels to each other. Subcutaneous vein, diploidic vein, and sinus vein. This bridge vein we call emissary veins. Emissary veins. Little bit about these cranial bones. Now look, external compact layer twice thicker than internal. More of this. Now imagine that you are the cranial bone. I press you. You have two layers. Then I press you. Of course, I press you from outside. On the external layer, only pressure forces apply. But on the internal layer, in the same time, will be applied two forces, and pressure and deformation force, tension force. That's why look what is happening. Deep layer twice thinner, and during the trauma, two forces apply on the deep layer. That's why remember, in 70% of the fractures, we have separate fracture of internal compact layer. You understand even what about this?
Yes.
Yes.
If for this person you will put your finger and palpate it external layer, you will not find any problem.
It's internal.
Only X-ray can show for you that internal layer is damaged. Because from outside, no any deformation, no any depression, no any fossa, nothing. That's why remember please, internal compact layer has specific name. We call it lamina vitrea. Vitreum, it is glass.
Yeah.
It is a glass-shaped layer, and unfortunately, then it is broken as a glass. It forms a lot of sharp pieces, fragments, which is perforated the structures inside of the cranial cavity. In the future, guys, you will have your own children. Of course, you will have also a lot of patients. Touch wood, of course, but if your child will have some serious trauma of the head, don't make that palpation. That is stupid. Make X-ray. Because again, I tell you, you cannot find anything by your palpation, but inside can be catastrophic situation. And I had in my life such kind of experience with my friends' children, and unfortunately with mortal complication. Unfortunately, doctor's child with mortal complication because parents doesn't recognize this problem. That's why again and again I tell you to be critically attentive in case of head traumas. And it's much more better to have small dosage of radiation, but to be safe from such kind of the problems than vice versa. Let's continue. Layer number 8 and last layer, which we will study in this region, because 9 and 10 it will be arachnoid layer, pia mater, and the brain, yeah, which we don't include it inside of the layers, which we study separately. It will be dura mater. First layer of the cranial cavity and first manic of the brain. It is dura mater. Can you give me your exercise book, whole exercise? Thank you very much. Now look here, please. As this exercise book, dura mater, of course, exercise book has a lot of papers, but I divide it now into 2 layers. Dura mater also has 2 layers, as I modulate it now for. And in some places, and in base, and in fornix, these 2 layers can be disconnected to each other, and they forms the processes of dura mater. Because you so good study anatomy, remember about skull, maybe you will remind me which processes of dura mater we study in anatomy. So interesting. What is non-study in anatomy you remember, and what is study in anatomy you don't remember.
Fluid field space? Fluid field space?
No. I speak about name of the processes of dura. Now 1 minute, look to me. These processes usually have triangular shape form. And these processes contain the cavity, which is shown in this picture. It is called dura mater venous sinus. Dura mater venous sinus, that is the biggest veins of cranial cavity, which is collected all venous blood from brain and from meninx. What is happened with this blood? It is come to the jugular aperture, and in the level of jugular aperture, internal jugular vein is formed, and all venous blood from sinus is drained into internal jugular vein, which is leave the cranial cavity and come to the neck. Then from neck it is connected with subclavian vein, they forms brachiocephalic veins, which is connected right and left to each other and forms the superior caval vein. So remember, please, between two layers of dura mater, the processes of dura mater can be formed, and inside of these processes we have sinuses. Thank you very much. Take it, please. Now look in the picture. In this picture, guys, I show for you the main processes of the dura mater. This is like 3D picture. That's like you can see the position of each sinus. And the first biggest sinus, which you see here, we call falx cerebri. Falx cerebri. Now imagine that he is left hemisphere and he is right hemisphere. Between them there are longitudinal groove. And inside of this groove we have corpus callosum, which is connected both hemispheres from each other. My first process of the dura mater inclinated inside of the longitudinal groove and physically divided right and left hemispheres from each other. We call it once again falx cerebri. What the meaning of it? Why it's necessary? Of course, it is protected hemispheres of the brain from big movement. It makes mechanical protection for them. Inside of it, there are not one, but there are two sinuses. One in upper margin, one in lower margin. If you will look in this picture, you will see one blue color superiorly, one blue color inferior. You can ask me how it happens, sir, before you say that we have only one space between two layers. Now there are two. Everything is simple, guys. This is our two layers, yeah, which is disconnected. Let's say first of all, one space is open here. Then they connect it to each other and again disconnect. Let's say one sinus will be here, second sinus will be here. One will be by upper margin, second will be by lower margin. Everything is very simple. Superior one we call superior sagittal sinus. Sinus sagittalis superior, longest sinus of the human body. It is projected by imaginary line which is connected your nasion with your inion strongly in sagittal plane. Inferior sagittal sinus, we project it otherwise by direction of superior temporal line. It is projection of it is very necessary during neurosurgical operations. All other processes, by the way, there are 4 processes, except that one which I mentioned. Continuation of falx cerebri, which is now inclinated not between two hemispheres of brain, but between two hemispheres of cerebellum. If it will be continuous to down, instead of two hemispheres of the brain, inferiorly I will have hemispheres of cerebellum. It will be called falx cerebelli. That's a falx cerebelli, it is continuation of falx cerebri. Both is located in sagittal plane. Next process, which is located in horizontal plane, and you can see it here, we call tentorium cerebelli. What is tentorium? Tentorium cerebelli, it is the process which is divided big hemispheres from cerebellar hemispheres. It's located in horizontal plane. Tentorium cerebelli. This is third one. Last, fourth process located not in the fornix, but in the base. We call it diaphragm of Turkish cell. Diaphragma cella turcica. What is Turkish cell, friend? Yeah. And you are happy?
No.
You are unhappy?
Yes.
It means that today you will go to your home, you will open the internet and will try to understand what is it, Turkish cell. Or your unhappiness will be not so important for you.
I will study.
You promise me?
I promise myself also.
If you promise for yourself, why till now you come without such kind of basic knowledge? Every day you promise and don't do it for yourself. Guys, it's not so simple to speak with professors, especially if professors know what about to speak. Let's say then you give the answer, firstly think what about you want to say, and only after say.
It's a beautiful test for the sphenoid bone.
Yes, and what it contains, Turkish cell.
Optic groove and
Oh, really? Turkish cell.
dorsum.
It is content your hypophyse, no anything else. It is depression in sphenoid bone, which is content hypophyse, and it's covered from outwards by diaphragm of Turkish cell, which is perforated, and infundibulum from inferior surface of the brain by this aperture come and connected with your hypophyse. And inside of this infundibulum there are special ways by which from hypothalamus hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin, come to your hypophyse, to your neurohypophyse. Friends, this is basic anatomical science. Inside of the last process, which we call diaphragm of Turkish cell, we have right and left cavernous sinuses and anterior posterior intercavernous sinus. They join to each other and they form the circular sinus. And you can see it, for example, here. Or much more better, it will be visible in this picture. Right and left cavernous sinuses, anterior posterior intercavernous. Let's say, Hamza, do you remember what I told you yesterday? Which groups is it?
I think 203. And 204.
Yeah, then we speak to yesterday with Hamza.
I think still.
I say Hamza. If you say, thank you very much, I say first of all that you think that my subject is interesting, but I say Hamza, all next topics, lessons will be thrice more interesting than this one. But unfortunately, it's 5 times more harder. Let's say, what is interesting generally for us? Only the subject which is understandable.